Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our Workforce Development Series. I'm Sharice Walker and I'm Vice President of Talent and Inclusion Programs for the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. These sessions are being held in partnership with the Charlotte Executive Leadership Council, highlighting non-traditional programs that create opportunities for our local talent to succeed through these incredible career pathways. This morning, we have the privilege of introducing two powerful programs, so you're really in for a treat. And we know we've got a diversity of different types of organizations joining us. So I am going to go ahead and get us started on our conversation around the offerings of Year Up and Road to Hire. And I know there's still more individuals that are coming and joining us. So as they come in, we'll definitely welcome them, but we want to go ahead and get us started. So to start off this morning, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Tori Kendrick. Tori is the Associate Director of Corporate Engagement with Year Up. Tori, good morning, and thank you for joining us today. We're really excited about the information that you're going to share and all the great work that you're doing and the partnerships you're going to highlight today. So thank you again, Tori, for joining us. Welcome and good morning.
Thank you for the introduction, Sharice, and good morning to all. Thank you to the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance and the Charlotte Executive Leadership Council for inviting us to participate in the Workforce Development Series. As Sharice mentioned, I'm on the corporate engagement team at Year Up Charlotte, and I have the pleasure of working closely with our corporate partners to deliver a talent solution to meet their business needs. I've been with Year Up Charlotte for about 2 years and was fortunate to be a part of Year Up Charlotte's launch. So for those of you who may not be as familiar with Year Up, we are a national workforce development organization, and we've been in existence for over 20 years. Our mission is to close the opportunity divide by ensuring that young adults gain the skills, experience, and support that will empower them to reach their potential through careers in higher education. We serve young adults who are often overlooked by employers that have what it takes to be successful in corporate America by providing them with the training they need and offering access to leading companies in in-demand roles. Our program consists of two components, a training phase that we call learning and development, and the corporate internship phase. The corporate internship phase allows us to work as a strategic partner with top companies like Bank of America and provide our partners with the advantage to gain access to a pipeline of entry-level talent who you can train and work with before deciding whether to extend an offer for full-time employment. So with the support from our founding corporate partner, Bank of America, and our community college partner, Central Piedmont, we were able to launch the Year Up program in Charlotte in 2019. And today I'm joined by 3 individuals who share a unique perspective about how workforce development programs like Year Up can equip emerging talent with the skills and experience companies need today, and companies can benefit from making workforce development programs a part of their talent strategy. So I would like to welcome Year Up alum Trinity Simpson and 2 of our incredible partners with Bank of America, Emily Hughes and Will Nova, to join me in this dialogue today. Emily, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Emily, I know you have been involved with the Year Up and Bank of America partnership for quite some time. So I would love if you could share a little about how Bank of America first began working with Year Up.
Absolutely. So good morning, everyone. I'm Emily Hughes. I've been at Bank of America for over 10 years. And in my current role, I sit in our talent acquisition department and focus on our Year Up relationship as part of Enterprise Pathways, which is our non-traditional talent hiring strategy. So right now I get to do a lot of program management and centralized operations for our Year Up partnership, but Bank of America's relationship with Year Up predates me by many, many years. We started partnering in 2006. And the relationship began really in one individual market where Europe had an office, Bank of America had offices. And we started very small with a handful of young adults coming in for internships. And that partnership over time really just spread by word of mouth. So what started as a handful of internships in one market about 15 years ago has now grown to encompass multiple markets, line of business partners, and we have that centralized operations team.
Wow, that's incredible. And Emily, I mentioned earlier that Bank of America was a founding partner for Europe Charlotte. So Bank of America played a huge role with bringing Europe to Charlotte. So can you tell us a little bit about why?
Absolutely. So Europe at Bank of America has really been on this very intense upward trajectory as word of mouth about the success of the program has grown. We have a lot of leaders who saw the talent we were bringing in, who saw the success that we had with offering full-time roles to young adults who'd been interning, who were very happy with just the diversity of talent coming in. And so there was a huge desire to bring Europe to our headquarters city. And because of that, we helped facilitate that connection with Cpcc, provided some funding, and then most importantly, identified jobs in our local market where we really had a need for that entry-level talent and we're struggling to fill roles. And so because of that, and because Europe, we were able to help Europe get that foothold in Charlotte, we've been able to really expand the number of lines of businesses who are getting to host Europe interns. And we're really getting to, I think, grow our partnership and have kind of leveraged our headquarters city support to grow the partnership even more across Bank of America.
Thank you for sharing that, Emily. I know it's been such an amazing journey working with partners like Bank of America who are truly committed to the mission and care so much about the work in the community. So thank you so much, Emily, for sharing a little about how our partnership began. Trinity, it's so great to see you this morning. I can't believe that it's already been over a year since you graduated from the Europe program. So I think it would be great for everyone to hear firsthand the experience from somebody who has completed the program and graduated and is in a full-time role now. So Trinity, if you could please introduce yourself to the group.
Peace and gratitude. My name is once again Trinity Simpson, graduate of Europe Charlotte Cohort 1 2020, and I am an ops analyst in client offboarding for Bank of America.
Thank you. So Trinity, what first encouraged you to apply to the Europe program, and how would you describe your experience?
Yeah, so what encouraged me to apply? Well, honestly, I would say I was lost. You know, I come from a small town, so the big city was a bit too much for me at times. I was working 2 jobs and going to school at Central Piedmont, so I wasn't really satisfied and I needed structure. And Europe was that. You know, the program was heavily incentivized, meaning if you do what you need to do as an intern and student, you know, you'll move on and graduate with flying colors. So it just made sense for me to apply and kind of, you know, bet on myself in the long run. But if I could describe my experience, I would say it was metamorphic. You know, I was in many ways a reluctant and scared child when I came into the program, and I came out, I would say, a young man. You know, Europe was able to stabilize my position. They gave me a motive, something to work for. You know, I knew I had my family, my peers, staff, and myself counting on me to succeed, and I wasn't going to let them down. You know, they gave me the tools to succeed in a market where if you don't have a bachelor's or master's degree, then, you know, your application is pretty much in the trash. So they gave me the opportunity to enrich my network, my corporate experience, you know, which was something that would take me another 5 years to get to. So overall, just a transcendent experience for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Trinity. One thing I love that you just said is you decided to bet on yourself. And I have watched that pay off for you. So I'm really excited that you decided to go through the program. So Trinity, what do you think sets Europe young adults apart?
So I would say grit, resolve, determination. These are a couple of characteristics that come to mind when I think about the typical Europe student. As vibrant and as diverse as we are, we often come from unsavory situations, where we've had to fight for our positions in life. You can see that, with the way we carry ourselves in office and in school. We're prompt, serious, and curious, but we also understand that we're here for a purpose. We want to show everyone that it doesn't matter about your level of, education, but it does matter about how much you apply yourself inside of your day-to-day. Europe founder Gerald Chatavian, he often states that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity isn't. And we overall want to change that narrative.
Absolutely. And so Trinity, you shared some characteristics that make up a Europe student. And as we're thinking about companies investing in Europe and hiring students from the Europe program and providing internship opportunities, what would you say is the unique value that Europe brings to companies?
Unique value. So I would say that they bring, individuals that want something. So the main reason that Europe works from my perspective is they find individuals like myself who want it. We want to be the success story. We want to be the first in our family to do something. We want to lift while we climb, and most importantly, we want to be that change that we want to see in the world. So Europe brings those individuals, and they say, hey, we're going to give you an opportunity to prove that you want this. We're going to give you the tools. We're not going to give you any sort of excuses to, fail in this position. So I think that's what it brings. It's not a typical situation where you bring everybody from everywhere for a chance to do this. It's a niche market of individuals who understand what they're lacking in life and what they want to get to. So that uniqueness, transcends why I would say, the vast majority of us are not just successful with our internships, but also successful down the line in our careers.
Thank you so much. So Trinity, how do you think that Europe prepared you specifically to launch your professional career and prepared you to thrive in the corporate environment?
Yep. So Europe, they don't just connect you with an internship. I think that being connected is a wonderful thing, right? But they don't want to just drop you inside of an office setting. So we were put through rigorous training through our learning and development phase. We took classes like CEDAR, which exposes you to topics like emotional intelligence. So being able to read a room, business etiquette, code switching, and at the top of that mountain, I would say emails was one of the biggest things that we learned. So like I said, they're not just going to drop you inside of an office environment. They want you to thrive in your situation. They want you to execute and make the best decision for yourself and also for your teammates. And many mainstays, it is still with me today, which it continues to push me forward in my career, just going back and reflecting on what I've learned and, applying them to new situations in the future.
Fantastic. Trinity, I've got one last question for you. How have you continued to advance your career, and are there any elements from your Europe experience that you still use today?
Yep. So just to go back to what I was saying with what we learned in learning and development, I think that is very rudiment to the success of any individual. Just going back off of CEDAR class and also our classes that we had during the learning and development phase, whether it be our regular intro to computers class or whatnot. It was just a lot of little things that I would say compounded for me. So I'm able to sit here and think back again, to certain instances where I learned a certain situation or how to, resolve a situation in a very mundane manner and not escalate it. So these are all little things that I try to go back to and in retrospect and see how I can apply them to today's, situations and circumstances.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Trinity.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Will, good morning.
Morning.
Will, can you talk a little bit about your current role with the partnership and speak to the day-to-day execution of managing a program like Europe?
Yep, absolutely. So hi, Will Nova. I work in our global technology and operations organization. And when we talk about the scale that Emily talked about, we get to a place where we're hosting close to 500 interns from Europe across the markets every year. In our global technology and ops organization, we're doing it to the tune of between 250 and 300. So with that scale, gives a unique opportunity for us to really focus on running it like a program, running the internship like a program, and putting some elements around project management, program management, learning and development all through that. So my current role here is I run the program, and in that relationship, I help manage the partnership with Europe, help strategically think about where we're going to go over the next few years, and then also look at our other workforce development programs within the bank, to ensure that what we're doing for this program is on par or better than everything else we're doing for developing the workforce.
Thank you, Will.
Yep.
What advice would you provide for a company that's interested in partnering with Europe on how to get started?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tori. So yeah, it might be daunting to hear that we've got a whole program office dedicated to thinking about these cyclical activities, identifying roles, bringing the talent in, working to that end game of getting them to full-time jobs. But the reality is, because of an organization the size of Bank of America, we have pockets of teams who will host an intern or two, right? They're small sublines of business, almost sub-organizations in themselves. And so each of them, we kind of consult and counsel on how to best think about, hosting an intern, grooming an intern into a full-time employee. So from an advice perspective, it all starts with planning, right? And planning from my perspective with the end state in mind, right? It's not, and we've gone through this process here over the years. We've had the benefit of time going through it, where we started, where the end goal was, let's host interns. We think it's the right thing to do in the community. Let's give individuals the opportunity. But that was the primary goal. But what we quickly realized, and what you guys just kind of heard from someone like Trinity, who's got perspective beyond his years, quite honestly, is that this talent is not something we want to just host for an internship, but the talent that we want to bring into our entry level roles that we know are going to be our future leaders. And so when we plan for conversion. So we plan not only for what the right roles are for internship, making sure we've got managers with the right emotional intelligence to understand, maybe some unique situations these individuals might be coming from that they've not had to contend with in the past. But also planning with, okay, well, what's that incubator role? What's that first role out of the gate that we think that they can step into, achieve some success, and then grow into the organization and, be a valuable asset over time, right? So it's all about planning for internship, planning with the end state in mind and conversion. And then I touched on it briefly. The other point is thinking about your management staff, right? Some managers are a little bit they all have different skills. Some are better player coaches, some are more coaches, some are like, they wake up every morning and what they want to do is grow and develop individuals. That's the individuals, those are the managers in your organizations you want to really rally around when you're bringing on apprentices and young adults into a program like this. They're going to give the time, the empathy required to get through those initial hurdles that happen with first corporate experience, right? And then, obviously give the constructive feedback. One thing you'll quickly learn is Europe does a tremendous job of instilling the virtue that feedback is a virtue, right? And our young adults will come in, provide feedback, and take feedback as good as anybody I've ever seen in our organization. And so that, coupled with high expectations for the individuals, they come in with a tremendous amount of aptitude, a tremendous amount of attitude. And now we meet them where they're at in terms of learning the skill. That gives organizations and our teams at Bank of America the opportunity to thrive with the talent.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Will, for sharing that perspective. And thank you again to Emily and Trinity for joining in this conversation. As I'm sure the folks are all on this call are aware, the barriers to opportunity and economic mobility have only increased as a result of the pandemic impact. And at Europe, we're working to continue to address those barriers, in addition to challenges to enter the workforce without a four-year degree. So the young adults that we work with, they're uniquely positioned to add value to companies by infusing diversity into your talent pipelines, which in many ways is so integral to innovation. So if you're interested in learning more about Year Up, please check out our website at yearup.org, and you can feel free to reach out to me directly for ways to invest in Year Up by hosting an intern or hiring a graduate. And I will put my email address in the chat. Thank you so much for this time. And Charisse, I will pass it back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Tori. The experience that and perspective that Trinity shared, I hope is resonating with our audience, and all the information that you all have shared. I just really want to thank you again. And just as a reminder, in addition to the information that Tori is sharing in the chat, we will have at the end of this session an opportunity for you to get more information on how you can get engaged and involved with these wonderful programs. Next up, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Nikki Key. Nikki is the Director of Development and Partnerships with Road to Hire. Nikki, good morning. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Very glad to have you share all of the information that you're going to talk about as it relates to Road to Hire. So with that, I'm going to turn it right over to you and remind everybody we will have Q&A after both of these conversations. So please get your questions ready. Nikki, take it away.
Absolutely. Good morning. And thank you, Charisse. I really appreciate the opportunity to share this morning presentation with an equally compelling program with Year Up. And I want to also thank the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance and CELC for hosting us here today. So Road to Hire promotes economic justice for young adults through on-ramps to high growth and high earning careers. In the US today, 6 million young adults are out of school and out of work, while almost 1 million tech jobs go unfilled. And companies, as Tori just shared, struggle to diversify their tech workforces. So Road to Hire supports high school seniors via the Pathways program, college students through the Pathways Scholarships program, and young professionals via the Apprenticeships program, all of whom are on their way to strong, sustainable careers. And essentially, there are 3 entry points with Road to Hire to one path to economic justice. Since 2016, Road to Hire has supported 1,300 young adults, including nearly 900 active participants and over 400 program alumni who are now employed and advancing in their careers. So today we are going to focus just on the apprenticeship program for young professionals. The apprenticeships is specifically for 18 to 25-year-olds from groups who are underrepresented in tech, with employers who are committed to using non-traditional talent pipelines to diversify and enhance their tech workforces. During this intense, rigorous 6-month paid apprenticeship, Road to Hire prepares students for professional tech jobs by focusing equally on technical skills, but also professional development. So working in teams, receiving feedback, which was also just mentioned with your public speaking. And so then the apprentices who complete the rigorous program are placed with employer partners in professional roles like software development and cybersecurity and business intelligence. And then they earn on average $55,000 per year at partner employers. And they go on to buy their first homes, support their families, reinvest in themselves. And partner employers include Bank of America, Duke Energy, Red Ventures, Lowe's, and many others. So I provided you with a bit of detail, but I also wanted to provide you with some numbers related to Road to Hire. 96% of participants identify as people of color. 40% identify as female or non-binary. 95% remain at their partner employer after their first year of employment 87% are promoted within 2 years, and many alum with more than 5 years of experience are making over $100,000 per year. So we know that the results have been remarkable, is measured by partner feedback, the low attrition rates that I just mentioned, and the life-changing impact that high-earning careers have on our grads and their families. In addition, Road to Hire invests in mentorship, wraparound support services to make young people not just start a career, but thrive in their professions and have the tools they need to grow. So I could sing our praises for this entire session, but there's nothing like hearing from people who have been impacted by this program. So I have invited Jordan Howard, a March 2021 coding apprenticeship graduate, and his manager, Daniel McIntyre from Duke Energy. Welcome, Jordan and Daniel. Good morning. So, Jordan, why don't I start with you? Let's just take it from the top. Why did you apply for Road to Hire?
Hope everybody's having a good morning. It's bright and early. But the reason I applied for Road to Hire was, there was just a point in life where I kind of wanted more. I didn't have a lot of opportunities to go to a four-year college and learn the things I've learned through the Road to Hire experience. So once my mom told me about the Road to Hire program, I decided to just take the opportunity and just dive right into it. And it was the coding apprenticeship for that one. And I was really nervous about coding. I did coding in high school. My teacher left in the first month, so we had no teacher for the entire year. And we really didn't learn anything. So it was kind of nerve-wracking trying to jump back into coding after having an experience like that. But I decided, I can always go back to what I've been doing. But to let an opportunity like that pass me, I might not have the opportunity to go back and redo it. So I decided to take the opportunity and went through that 6-month rigorous program because it was crazy. And now I look back and I'm very thankful for my mother for telling me about the program. I'm very thankful and happy about myself for putting forth that effort and determination to get through it. So thank you.
Thank you. Before we get too far ahead, so share what's your title? Maybe give an example of what your day-to-day work is, what type of projects you're working on.
Okay. So my title is IT apprentice, and basically what I do is I am a front-end developer for Duke Energy on 2 teams. So one of the teams I work on is Team Card, and also the other team I work on, which I do most of my work on, is Restore Ops. So usually my day-to-day is I wake up and after I get my cup of tea, because you gotta rejuvenate. But I get up and I go to stand up. So I have 2 stand up meetings. One is with Team Card, like I said before, that's one of the teams I work on. And usually if they need the extra hands on deck, that's when I step in. But usually I'm there just to make sure, learn as I'm going on. Again, I just started at Duke Energy, so I try to learn as much as I can with any team that I'm on. And then once I go to Restore Ops, which I do most of my work on, I usually build any updates or features that are on our webpage. So lately, Restore Ops has been working on a web portion of an app that they've been working on called Restore Ops, which is an on-site damage assessment application. So I've been building, landing page, building roster upload features so that a contractor or a Duke Energy employee will be able to come in and upload a roster and basically see their staff or see their assessors and just multiple things like that. And I do that on a daily basis, and I'm always continuing to work. And if I don't have any work to do, I know Duke Energy is trying to move towards the AWS feature. So I've been working on educating myself and building my AWS knowledge and probably trying to take my practitioner AWS certificate by either the end of the year or beginning of next year. So those are my day-to-day looks like.
Perfect. Thank you, Jordan. So Daniel, why don't you take this opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at Duke Energy, and also you can share how you met Jordan. I think you're muted, Daniel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry. So hey again, so my name is Daniel and I'm a software engineering manager within Duke Energy's Innovation Studio. So we're focused on our digital transformation of our company. So we built a lot of web, mobile, AI, VR type applications for our internal workforce using the latest and greatest technology. So so I have multiple product teams building various products, and how I met Jordan is, I'm a part of Duke Energy's workforce strategy team, where we're constantly looking for, how do we get early career talent to fill the needs within our company. So, well, one part of that was the Road to Hire program, and I was on the interview committee for that, where we interviewed, multiple candidates that came through, and I remember when I had interviewed Jordan, I was really impressed by him. Not only, he was just really polished in terms of his interview skills, his communication ability, but also just passionate. I think he showed me during the interview a website that he built around cars, which is he's personally passionate about. So I was really impressed by the fact that he was, using his personal passions to drive sort of what he builds, as well as his interest in technology. So I sought him out after the interview and I hired him, and now he's on my team.
Perfect. Thank you. So Jordan, tell us a little bit about how you prepared for that interview, and also maybe how, what are some of the things that you learned during the Road to Hire program that got you ready for that next step?
I think one of the biggest things that Road to Hire does is gives confidence to its students. When you first get into the program, it's nerve-wracking. It's 60 plus students. And at the end of the day, the only thing you can really think about is like, hey, I'm competing with the next person next to me. And honestly, that's not true. One of the first things I learned quick and early is teamwork. It will get you far. You are on an entire team. Even when I'm working on Daniel's team, it's multiple of us. So if I have any questions, anything I'm not sure about, I can easily go and ask those questions and get those questions answered and continue about my work or continue about what I was doing. So before the interview process with Daniel, we did a lot of professional development when it came to interviewing. We did a lot of Toastmasters to build confidence in students, talking about many different topics that either Road to Hire gave us or what we wanted to present to our class. So I remember doing those and studying those, and just talking to my peers, trying to make sure, and hopefully I'm doing a great job at speaking. And I came to find out that I want to say I'm normal. It's natural to me. I don't mind speaking in front of multiple different people. I also don't like scripted stuff. So I know a lot of things is from just practice with me. So if I have something that I need to practice on or work on, I usually call up a couple of peers, or I might call in Daniel, and I might just work on some of my public speaking skills to him before I present it to a vast majority of people. So coming up to the interview was nerve-wracking. Duke Energy, these who keeps the power on in my house. It's all types of stuff. So it's like that's a big partner for me. So right before then, I talked to a couple of friends, and they hyped me up. They're like, "Yo, you're gonna do good. You're gonna do good." But it was still nerve-wracking. And I think once I got into that meeting with Daniel, I realized like it wasn't as nerve-wracking as I was telling myself. I kind of just spoke to him from the heart, told him everything that was about myself, just try to lay as much things I can on the table, and just let them know like what I wanted, why I wanted it, and this is what can I bring to your team. And that's about all I can do. And after that, I can go back and go redo the interview. It's just something I have to just let them know right then and there where I want it to be.
Perfect. Thank you. So Daniel, why don't you tell us more on your side? What did you do to prepare to hire and manage early and emerging talent from a non-traditional background?
Sure. So as part of the workforce strategy team at Duke Energy, we're always looking for, where is talent, whether it's, through, finding people through internships or college programs or boot camps or whatever. And so one goal that we have is, increasing diversity and investing in social impact programs, because we ultimately believe that that's going to make us a stronger and more resilient company for the future. So that's how we got engaged with Road to Hire. And so when Jordan started on our team, I immediately put him on a product team and assigned him a mentor to just work with him. It's probably a whole new experience to. I think his first day we had like a 3-hour meeting, which is probably like, what is going on? So it was a whole different experience for him probably. And so the mentor was really poured into him, and I've been working with him, day in, day out on just teaching him or answering questions or just helping make sure that was a smooth transition. So we've also have given him a lot of training. He mentioned a few of the technologies that we're working with. They're very new technologies. Even when I hire senior engineers, these technologies are hard to find people with these skill sets because they're so new. So we've sort of just loaded a lot on Jordan. Whether it's training videos on Udemy or whatever it is. We've just given him a lot of opportunity just to learn as he works on the different features within his product team. So lastly, we really did, we gave him real work to do. So it's not just he's just going to sit there training for a whole year. I think the best way to really learn and embed yourself in a team is to actually do real work. So very early on, we started assigning him real work. That web app that he's building, that's a real thing there. And so he's already adding value to our team. I think within a few months, he had learned a new technology. He was adding value to our team. And it was just a seamless transition. So
perfect. Well, thank you, Daniel. Why don't you share more about what advice would you share or provide to companies preparing to launch an early talent hiring initiative to also ensure diversity in their workforces?
Yeah, I would say just look at the results. That these diverse early talent programs are having in other companies. We are one partner at Duke Energy. I know Red Ventures is one as well, and Bank of America. This is our first year doing it, and what I'll say is that we started out with 5 hires, but because of the success of the program, we went and hired 5 more. So now we have 10 total, and we're already planning to add more next year. So I think finding talent is hard. I'm always interviewing. It feels like every single week I have more and more interviews, and finding talent is hard. And what I'm finding is that no matter what people have on their resume or their background, the 2 biggest things that I look for are culture fit and growth mindset. Those are the people you want, and you can train them to do whatever you need to do to achieve your outcomes. But if they don't have that, then they're not going to be successful. And I'm finding that these candidates out of the Road to Hire program are groomed to have that. Like Jordan wants to learn. He has that insatiable desire just to learn more and more about technology. So that's what I need to really find great talent, for my product teams. So ultimately, I would just encourage people just to broaden your horizons and not really look for just maybe the historical path of finding talent, 4-year college degree or master's degree or whatever else. Just find great people, and then you can groom them to do great things.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, final thoughts, Jordan?
I just want to piggyback up on what Daniel said. Road to Hire does a great job. My motto that I like to always say, and same thing I said to Daniel during the interview, is Road to Hire teaches you how to learn. Again, technology is always evolving. Just because an app finishes or a company gets comfortable doesn't mean technology is going to stop. We got Angular 1 goes all the way up to Angular 8, 9. So with technology always evolving, I would say Road to Hire does a good job teaching their students how to learn. I know I learn best by, just like Daniel said, giving me actual work to do, making sure I have a deadline, give me Udemy's, and make sure we have goals set up. And so that's all I want to add into that.
Thank you, Jordan. Well, thank you, Jordan and Daniel. We appreciate your insights for sharing with us your Road to Hire experience. Road to Hire is an amazing program. I'm so happy that we're able to help young people continue to grow in their careers in this community. We can help impact and provide economic justice for young adults, but also we're helping the business community solve a very real challenge that they have. I can be reached at nkeith@roadtohire.org. I think Ashley stated, or it was in the chat, that it's also on the webpage for this program. And I look forward to being able to talk to anyone more about Road to Hire. With that, I'll pass it back to you, Sharice.
Wow, thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Jordan and Daniel. That was a lot of good information. There was a lot to unpack there. I am hopeful that we'll have some questions that come through in the chat. Jordan, you're just so inspiring. The wisdom that you've relayed to this audience, it has just been so impactful. So thank you, and just looking forward to all the great things that you and Trinity will do in the future because of the partnership and the opportunity that you've had to engage in these wonderful, wonderful programs. These incredible programs are obviously supporting the talent needs of our community. I really have been just impressed by all that we've been able to learn as we've engaged in conversations to get prepared for today's sessions. But I would like to now open it up for questions. So if you're willing to unmute and ask your question, or if you're more comfortable, there are things that are populating in the chat. Excellent presentations. Totally agree with that assessment, Andrew. I'm hoping you're hearing this. A question from Chris at 704 Shop. Is Road to Hire primarily tech-based in terms of the work opportunities?
Yes, it is. We've done a coding apprenticeship. Right now, we're about to graduate a group of cybersecurity apprentices, and we have plans in the future to launch business intelligence as well. So yes, tech focus.
Thank you for that, Nikki. Another question from Anna Lou, and great question. How do you find candidates for these programs? Do you go into the high schools? I think that's a wonderful question. How are you finding participants for the Year Up and the Road to Hire programs?
I'm happy to start. So for Year Up, we absolutely recruit at high schools, and we recruit through college partners as well. So as I mentioned, Central Piedmont is our community college partner. Our office is located on the Central Piedmont campus, and they've been one of our biggest sources of recruitment. So we work with Central Piedmont, also other local colleges in the area like Johnson C. Smith, UNC Charlotte. We recruit from there because we have a couple different program offerings. So we have opportunities for young adults who are coming straight out of high school or who have earned a GED. And then we also have opportunities in an accelerated program for young adults who might be a little farther along in their educational trajectory. And we are able to serve them as well through an accelerated program. So we recruit in a couple of different ways, and we're a new program, but alumni has started to become another great source of our recruitment. Folks like Trinity have really done a great job with sharing with their peers.
I agree with Tori. A large source of our candidates come through referrals, or word of mouth from prior candidates who were in the program. That is actually our largest source right now of candidates, is from word of mouth, but we still, we also post on social media. Another program that we don't have the time to delve into today, but our Pathways program, we work with the Title I high schools in Charlotte, and also Philip O'Berry Technical Academy. So that's another source. And so those are the main ways that we are recruiting for the Road to Hire program.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, and thank you for those great responses. Another question that has come through the chat. What is the role that Cpcc plays specifically with the Year Up program besides recruiting at the high school level?
That's a great question. Cpcc is an integral part of the Year Up program. So our young adults take classes at Central Piedmont College through our traditional model. So the young adults that we have that come in with either a high school diploma or a GED, they take their technical skills classes at Central Piedmont. So right now we are training in project management, application development, and cybersecurity. And we've been able to partner with Central Piedmont and our corporate partners to think through the best curriculum to serve those in-demand needs for the companies that we work with. And Central Piedmont delivers those. So partnership with them in so many different ways.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Tori, I think I want to just, while we're seeing if any more questions come through, I did want to do a follow-up. I think Nikki talked about this during her piece, but what types of roles are young adults being trained or hired for through your program?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So we train young adults in business fundamentals, project management, cybersecurity, and application development. And the roles look so different for that. And sometimes we're able to kind of see a cross function between like our project management roles in the technology space too. So I actually want to invite Will Nova to add in on that as well, as he can speak to some of the roles that we have hired in at Bank of America.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think what's important is to think about those tracks as feeder programs, a plethora of roles we have here. So from a software development track, you will find individuals come into roles very similar to what George mentioned that he's doing at Duke, right? So actual app development, software development roles, sitting in Agile and Scrum teams, contributing to our technology initiatives across the firm, right? We also have individuals who could come into those roles and support maybe an internal or external help desk, from a technical perspective. From a cybersecurity track, a lot of those individuals will go directly into our global information security organization and kind of join the different cyber defense teams that we have contributing to the bank. And then from a project management support perspective, that's a very interesting track in that a lot of our project manager roles at the bank typically will go to individuals who have a little bit more seasoned experience in the firm, in the industry, in change management. And so what we've leveraged that project management track for is not only adding to those project management teams in terms of support staff, project analyst type roles, but also to the roles that like Trinity's in right now. So our financial operations analyst roles, whether they support our markets business or our consumers business, right? So those three tracks, will feed nearly any entry level role that we have in global technology and operations at the bank.
Awesome, thank you. This question, I think, is for Nikki and Tori again. I think we've got a couple more actually. Do you also work with culinary or hospitality talent?
With Road to Hire, we don't. Our focus is primarily tech, so we don't do that as of yet.
Got it. Tori?
With Year Up, we don't as of yet, but there could be opportunities to work in those spaces as they're aligned with some of our tracks. So I could see like project management, there being an opportunity with a culinary or a hospitality organization for that. So would definitely welcome a conversation to explore.
Got it. And then a Road to Hire question specifically, does Road to Hire work with the North Carolina's apprenticeship, North Carolina?
Great question. We are in the early stages of exploring that, and we have team members working on that to learn how we can collaborate and align with that program.
Got it. Mike Raylon is on the call. Mike, thank you for joining us. He's put some really helpful information relative to Road to Hire and Year Up in the chat. I did want to, and I'll look again to see if we have any others. And I do invite anyone that might have a question that wants to go off mute to please do so. Is there anyone that has a question that wants to go off mute? Okay, I don't see anyone yet. This might be a question for Will or Daniel, as partners of Year Up and Road to Hire, any advice for any of the companies that are on the call that you would offer when thinking about how they might partner, or the importance of partnering with Year Up or Road to Hire?
Yeah, I'm happy to take it. And then Daniel, I think just hearing your remarks, I think you'll probably have some similar feedback. But yeah, for me, start small and start with a plan is the good one, right? Anytime I engage a new sub-organization in our firm, it's about identifying the right role, identifying the right conversion opportunity, and then I ask them to plan more than just for the current cohort, right? The reason I ask them to do that is because in a program like this, there's a lot of different scenarios. It may not be a good fit for the individual. It may not be a good fit for the firm. So what I like to do is say, listen, if you're going to start new and you want to start taking apprentices into your team, let's plan for a few in the first cohort. Let's plan for a few in the second cohort. And let's think about that third and fourth cohort as an opportunity for us to scale up, for it to become a valid workforce development pipeline, right? I think that's one. And then the other thing is, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, is I think Daniel's probably a perfect example of this at Duke, but make sure that the team and the manager understands where the talent is, has the ability to meet them where they're at, so they can give them those hard skills to get them into the functional part of the team. When you throw them into Scrum teams, it's a bit of a culture shock for the individual and the team sometimes when they're used to having traditional talent come in or people with multiple years experience come in. But what we tend to find is, they kind of outpace their years when they come in. They get there very quickly. The Year Up approach is a very agile approach to learning. You give them enough to get them started, give them a little bit more on the internship, and then the organization's going to take over from there.
Yeah, well, one thing I would add to that real quick before turning it over to Daniel is just keep in mind as well, I think the first time, the first cohort where we bring in a new line of business and a new particular job to partner with Year Up, it's always that learning curve, because Year Up has to figure out what's the best fit in our students for those particular job requirements. And the line of business, to your point, is always figuring out, okay, this is slightly different from some of the talent we've worked with in the past. So I would also say give yourself that grace period to know that it's going to take a cohort or two before you really figure out the secret sauce and can grow.
I'll just second all that. And now I'm a 2-year-old here, so but everything you guys just said, I second that. So start small, invest in them, be clear about expectations. So.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you all for the incredible work that you're doing, for all of the information that you've shared. Our call to action for this series is really to engage and connect our audience with the incredible programs that we're providing access to, so that you can incorporate these into your workforce development programs and your overall talent strategy. So again, thanks to everybody. I hope you all learned a valuable amount of information as you're thinking again through your talent strategy for 2021 and beyond. And before we close, I just wanted to remind everybody that we will have our next session is coming up on Wednesday, September 29th from 8:30 to 9:30. That focus is going to be on technology. It's going to feature, again, Road to Hire and Win. Again, that's going to be Wednesday, September 29th from 8:30 to 9:30. We do have, so please hold on, we do have a closing video, and we also are going to have a follow-up slide that will give you some information on how to connect with Road to Hire and Year Up for further access and potential participation. So thanks again to everybody, and please stay on for the video and the information to follow.
Thank you so much for being with us today and for your commitment to providing opportunity for all. I'm Carol Lovin, Executive Vice President, Chief Integration Officer, and System Chief of Staff for Atrium Health. And I'm also very proud to be the 2021 Chair of the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance. In addition to the assessment and commitment tools mentioned earlier, we've launched a web page to provide you with the latest information on these programs. The follow-up email will include more details on the programs and how to further engage. Now, one thing you may know is that the Charlotte Alliance's theme this year is Forward Together. We're working to create economic opportunities and prosperity for all. And to do that, we've got to think in new and different ways with respect to our hiring practices and training methods. So when I think about Atrium Health and what we're doing here, one top of mind example is our Restorative Pathways program. In partnership with City Startup Labs, a Charlotte area nonprofit, we're extending our diversity and inclusion efforts to hire 20 justice-involved individuals into select roles. We've already identified the jobs and we're training the supervisors, so we're on our way. As we continue to advance equitable economic growth, it's more than just you or me, it's going to take all of us. And when we say alliance, those first 3 letters do mean all of us working together. So please join us in committing to, first, non-traditional hiring options, secondly, building relationships with these programs, and thirdly, ultimately hiring from them to show that we're really serious about the for all. Thank you for joining us today and moving the Charlotte region forward together.